Welcome to Simply Local. This is Pam Outen, Family and Consumer Science Agent here in Cabarrus County.
And I'm David Goforth, Horticulture Agent here in Cabarrus County. And today we're going to take spinach from the farm to the fork.
Okay, that sounds like a great plan, David.
This is some spinach that we are growing here in our farm incubator here in Cabarrus County, project that we've got going down there. And can you see the difference between this and this?
Yes, I can. This is a purchased spinach in the bag, and the leaves are a little bit smaller.
There's a taste difference too, Pam.
And I'm sure there's a big taste difference.
And we can actually take and measure it with a instrument that we've got called a refractometer, and this one is measuring about 3 times what that one is. And so the point being is spinach is not necessarily the same as spinach. So this spinach will give you a very good taste if you want to use it.
And it's available at the Piedmont Farmers Market?
There is spinach available at the farmers market. This is on the market at different places. So yes, it's available. From the field, we can grow it from October, November time frame. It's very readily available then. And again, in the spring, about the March time frame is very readily. Now, here in the middle of the winter, you do have to have some protection, either in what we call a high tunnel or a low tunnel, or some type of protective cover to get the spinach to grow like this.
But I guess my point is that this spinach is going to be available to the consumer at the farmer's market for the next several months, really. Or the next couple of months.
Spinach is, yeah. Maybe not this spinach.
Oh, not that spinach.
Okay.
No, it will only keep a couple of days.
Well, maybe a week in the refrigerator.
Oh my goodness. Well, David, we're going to have some fun today.
That's good.
We're going to use some raw spinach, and then we're going to use some spinach that has been frozen and we've microwaved it. But we're going to start off with something really, really easy, and that is going to be just a simple little spinach orange toss salad. And I already have 4 cups of spinach in our large salad bowl, and I'm going to add a cup and a third of Mandarin oranges, and we'll add sliced mushrooms. You know, there are a lot of things that are delicious with spinach. Mushrooms, onions, cheeses is absolutely terrific with spinach. Now, I'm just going to kind of lightly toss this spinach, and I should say while we're looking at this spinach salad that there are so many other fruits we could serve with the spinach. You know, we've done TV programs, or we've done Channel 22 before with strawberries, blueberries. I think we've even had grapes and kiwi. Today we're just using the Mandarin oranges and the mushrooms. Now, we're going to add some homemade salad dressing, and I've made this in advance to save time, and it just consists of 2 tablespoons of your olive oil, as we've already talked about, a tablespoon of your lemon juice, a tablespoon of honey, and I want to make a comment that this is local honey that my husband has produced in the mountains of western North Carolina. So that's pretty local, isn't it?
That's local enough.
About local as you can get. It also has, if you see the little black dots, a 1/4 teaspoon of poppy seed and an 1/8 teaspoon of garlic powder. Another thing that's absolutely delicious with spinach. And let's toss this a little bit more. That looks so good. We've had this recently at our house and we all enjoyed it. And we're just going to garnish it with some slivered almonds. Now, you know, you can buy spinach at the grocery store in a bagged form. Of course, I know it's not as good as your spinach from your house in the farmer's market, but it's pretty good nonetheless, and it will keep for several days. Now, go ahead, David. Were you going to say something? It looked
I was going to mention, this is the button mushroom, and don't try to swap mushrooms, because there's a few of the mushrooms that, like shiitake mushrooms, some people are allergic to it when it's not cooked. So if you're going to do raw, the button mushroom is a choice you need to make here.
Well, thanks for adding that hint. And of course, the mushrooms have been well washed, and the spinach was purchased. It's been washed 3 times. But anyway, here is a healthy spinach salad for folks to enjoy, knowing that we could use several other different fruits. So that's one example of using spinach in its fresh or raw form. Now, David, sometimes we've had discussions about this. People have trouble getting their children to eat vegetables. That never happens, I know, or never happened at your house. Did it?
Well, not for the first 30 days.
Not for the first 30 days. Okay.
No, that's a joke,
All
Pam.
right, that was a joke. I got that. We're going to make a spinach smoothie. Now, this is not to replace a meal, but it's fine to use as a snack. And we're just going to start by adding a half a cup of water to our blender. That's just more to keep the blender lubricated, so to speak. And then we're going to add a half a cup of coconut milk. Now, we could be using almond milk, we could be using low-fat milk, and I know we don't produce coconut milk in Cabarrus County, but it was fun to make a smoothie like this. Then we're going to add our spinach, and this spinach has been torn, fairly small, the stem has been removed, and we're adding 2 cups of chopped spinach. And we haven't really talked about this yet, but you know, spinach can be interchanged with another green leafy vegetable, kale. And it's equally as good with kale, but today we're focusing in on spinach. Then we're going to add about 1.25 cups of pineapple. Just adding all kinds of good ingredients to this smoothie. And we'll finish with 1 banana that has been sliced and covered with some fruit fresh to keep it from turning dark. Okay, now, if it's plugged in, I think we're going to be ready to blend it. You know, a lot of people have the really fancy blenders and the vitamin blenders. This is just a traditional blender. I took this last year, not this drink, this recipe last year, to several health fairs, and folks were amazed that they were drinking a green spinach smoothie. They really enjoyed it, got a lot of chuckles, people didn't believe me, but the biggest success story is one of the plants that I was at. They made the decision after I was there that they wanted to add a blender to their staff kitchen so they could make some spinach smoothies, and I thought that was just a great idea. And we'll garnish it with a pineapple and some bananas. Doesn't that look cool and refreshing?
It does, it looks interesting.
Interesting. I love that word, David. I bet a lot of other people are saying, ooh, that looks interesting. Well, interesting. Now, as we continue down the road with spinach, we need to remember that it's a really versatile vegetable. And the really good thing about spinach also is that you can buy it frozen in year-round and add it into recipes. And I think that's one of the great aspects of the spinach. It's available year-round in a frozen state. We're going to do a spinach quiche to go. Now, I have to admit that I think this is probably going to appeal more to women. Maybe not, though, but it's the kind of thing a woman might enjoy taking to a church dinner or as an appetizer or perhaps a bridal shower or a wedding shower. Have you hosted any of those lately, David?
Not yet.
Not yet. So I didn't think you would probably get as much interest out of that. But our ingredients, of course, are the 1 package, 10-ounce frozen chopped spinach. And the one secret to working with frozen chopped spinach, you always want to microwave it and heat it, let it cool, and then it really needs to drain. In fact, I took a paper towel and squeezed this frozen spinach, which is not frozen anymore, to get the excess liquid out. It's real important. You'll have some watery products if you don't drain the water out of the spinach. So we're going to go ahead and add the 10 ounces of frozen spinach to the bowl, and we're going to add some more good things too. We already have 3 farm fresh eggs in there. We're now going to add some low-fat 16 ounces of cottage cheese. David, I'm trying to be healthy, and we're using low-fat cottage cheese.
I can't really, on the cheeses, a lot of times I can't taste the difference between the low fat and the regular fat cheese. You know, the cream cheeses or the cottage cheeses, the taste is pretty much the same to me.
Now, you could also use a shredded cheddar cheese. In fact, that's really what I probably should have used because it's sitting right here. But instead, I added some cottage cheese.
Can you use both?
Can I use both? No, but you know, David, what did you say earlier? That our products are mistakes that we're ready to eat. So we're going to blend in this cottage cheese and it is going to work just perfectly. We'll put in some of our shredded cheddar cheese also.
Now we're talking.
Now we're talking, and it's low fat. I want to make sure that we realize it's low fat. Give it some good stirs here. The nice thing about this also, you could use some different vegetables rather than the spinach. But today we're focusing on spinach. And let me keep stirring.
You could start from a fresh spinach and get to this point. I mean, you would not have to freeze it. You could just cook it, dry it, drain it, and you would be
and cut it
to the same point that you're at here.
That's right, cut it.
Need smaller.
Now we're going to add the 1/4 cup of chopped peppers to give it a little bit more flavor. We're going to add 1/4 cup of our chopped onions, and you could certainly vary the vegetables here. Let me do a little bit more stirring to kind of get this mixed up well. And the next thing we're going to add is something that's optional, and usually you see me measuring real carefully on this when we do Simply Local, but today I'm not going to measure quite as carefully. This is an optional addition, and you can add 3 drops of a hot sauce, and I'm just using a red pepper hot sauce in the liquid form, and we'll see if we can just get 3 drops to come out. More's okay, but there's one. Well, there's one. There's one. There's 2, 3. It came out pretty quickly, didn't it? All right, so we have our spinach quiche cups mixed and ready to go. And we've really improvised today a little bit. We've used cottage cheese rather than some of our cheddar cheese, which is fine. We're going to bake this now just like we would a cupcake or a muffin in a 12-section muffin tin. And the one thing that's a little bit different about this, we are using foil cupcake liners. They will heat faster and heat better and more thoroughly. And I've sprayed just a little bit of cooking spray in them. So we're ready to add now our spinach cups to go. We'll bake them at a 350-degree oven for about 20 minutes. And we may not take the time to fill everything totally today. But David, one thing, this is not like working with the yeast bread. These spinach cups will not increase in size, if that makes sense. They're gonna remain the same size. There's no yeast in them or anything like that. We'll bake them for about 20 minutes until a knife inserted in the center comes out clean. This is oops, that might be a little bit big, but maybe that could be yours, you think, David?
I think I'll enjoy this.
Okay, all right. We'll just keep adding here. The nice things about the spinach quiche cups to go, they can be frozen and kept in your freezer and then simply taken out and reheated for a few minutes before your function. All right, I think we did get our muffin tins filled. So we filled them fairly evenly, and we're ready now to bake them for about 20 minutes in a 350-degree oven. We'll know when they're done because we can take a knife and insert it in the center. And if the knife comes out without any egg or cheese on it, then we'll know it's completely done. These will bake and then you can freeze them. David, here is some finished quiche cups to go. That these actually have been frozen, and you can heat them in the microwave and enjoy them on the go or at a little festive party that you might be attending. Well, it's a little bit different treat or a little bit different take on using spinach. Now, I think we're ready to use some more frozen spinach, box frozen spinach, and a favorite of mine, and that is spinach lasagna. Have you ever had spinach lasagna?
I don't remember having spinach lasagna.
Well, it's going to be a treat for you, and maybe it's a healthier alternative to our traditional lasagna. Perfect in the cooler months, and I've served this, believe it or not, a couple of times, and folks have really enjoyed it. Our ingredients for the spinach lasagna are 2 eggs beaten, a container, 16 ounces of low-fat cottage cheese, and we're using low fat to cut those calories and cut the fat grams. 2 packages of frozen chopped, dried or drained and dried with a paper towel spinach, a ½ cup of Parmesan cheese that we have divided, and a jar, 24 ounces of just our spaghetti sauce, and then of course our already cooked lasagna noodles. I've had to do some of this in advance to be ready. Okay, we're going to begin by adding our 2 eggs that have been beaten a little bit already before we add it to our mixing bowl. So we're going to add our 2 eggs. Then the next thing we'll add will be the star of the program, and this is our frozen spinach, and it has been microwaved and drained. David, one thing I really like about this, it's available year-round, and sometimes it's not convenient for consumers to make it to the farmer's market. So this is a great alternative. Next, we're going to add the 3 cups of 2% milk cottage cheese. We're cutting the calories. So let's add our cottage cheese next. Okay. Then we're ready to add a cup or 3 cups of our mozzarella cheese. And again, we're using this low-fat mozzarella cheese. Getting all kinds of good things in there, aren't we? And our smaller, or about 1/4 teaspoon of Parmesan cheese. Okay, excuse me. Let's mix this up really well. This is going to require a little bit of elbow grease. This original recipe called for just 1 box of frozen chopped spinach. And you know, after making it a couple of times, my family decided they wanted more spinach. And I think that's great to want more spinach, don't you, David?
Well, I think it'll add to it.
Well, it's definitely going to add to it. A lot of our restaurants in the area are serving spinach lasagna, taking advantage of the lower fat cheese. So we are mixing our spinach, cottage cheese, mozzarella cheese, and eggs. Notice that there's no seasoning in here. If you wanted to add some onions, oh, I think it would make it even more delicious, though this particular recipe doesn't call for it. Now, we're going to put this lasagna together just like we would a traditional lasagna using ground beef. We'll begin by just pouring the tomato sauce or the spaghetti sauce on the bottom of a 9 by 13 Pyrex dish, and I've sprayed it with cooking spray to make sure that things don't stick. It's a lot easier to clean up when, of course, they don't stick. Next, we're going to be ready to add our lasagna. Now, I'm using the traditional lasagna noodles today. You could use your no-bake or no-boil lasagna if you make sure that you get the lasagna saturated in the tomato sauce. Cover it well with aluminum foil. Now, we're ready to add the star of the event, or I like to think the star of the event, and that is our spinach with all this cheese. Okay. I have to tell you a secret. I made this recently at my house, and my husband said, "Ooh, you can make this again." So anytime he says that, I know it's pretty good. If he wants it made again.
Now, the cottage cheese, is that a substitution for the ricotta cheese, or a lot of times don't they use ricotta in this recipe? Or?
You could, and this is a really healthy version because we're using lower fat cottage cheese and lower fat mozzarella cheese. But you're exactly right. A lot of your lasagnas do use a different cheese, but this is the one we're using today. Trying to cut the fat a little bit. And I'm doing this pretty quickly. You could do a little bit better job probably taking your time and spreading that out. Next, we're ready to add another layer of our spaghetti sauce. And this is just a store brand spaghetti sauce. Okay. want to save some for the top. Let me kind of spread it out. David, what are some of your favorite ways of eating spinach?
I generally just a salad on spinach.
Really?
I eat a salad during season, and you get to other times of the year, I eat other food. But again, we're only looking for somebody getting 10% of their diet from local foods anyway. We're not looking for somebody to do 100% local foods, and so it makes sense to do, use your local eggs as your 10% and use the spinach, like you say, store-bought, if that's what you want to do for a summer dish or something, and you're still, just even the 10% would really improve our economy here in North Carolina. So that's why we're shooting for not eat everything that we eat from local ingredients, but just a percentage of it.
And how are we doing in Cabarrus County? Or is that a very complicated question?
Well, we don't know. I mean, everybody that's doing that wouldn't sign up, but we've had quite a few sign up for a 10% program, which you can find on the internet.
Right, okay. But I mean, we've got how many farmers markets now in the county? And think of all the opportunities that people do have to buy fresh produce.
We're still only probably 1 or 2% where we could be 10%.
Oh, really? Reaching the public, okay. So we've added some more spinach. And I'm going to finish up with that little bit of, this is kind of one of those things that you add and you stir and you work with what you have. Okay, now I'm going to put that last row of lasagna noodles on top. And one thing you want to make sure with your spinach lasagna is that you do end with some of your tomato sauce on top or your spaghetti sauce on top, because those lasagna noodles will have a tendency to buckle a little bit up if you don't. And also, you may even want to cover it with some foil. Let me get the last of that tomato sauce, the last of the spaghetti sauce. And if you have a little bit larger container, feel free to use it, because we're just going to spread it around. Doesn't it smell? Can you smell it?
I can smell it.
Doesn't it look appealing? I hope it does. Now we saved about a half a cup of our mozzarella cheese, so we're going to sprinkle that on top. Have to use your fingers in something like this, don't you, David?
Sometimes.
Sometimes you do. And then we're going to sprinkle our remaining Parmesan cheese on top. We're going to bake it at 350 degrees for about 40-45 minutes until it's thoroughly heated. One important secret when you're making a lasagna like this or anything with eggs, you want to let it sit or rest for about 10 minutes before you cut it.
After you've cooked it.
After you've cooked it.
All
I'm
right.
sorry, yes, after you've cooked it.
Well, let me get it cooked first.
Okay, David, we're going to bake that at 350 degrees. You're bringing the baked product over. Perfect. Perfect.
This is pre-baked.
Pre-baked, well, it's homemade, I made it. And we'll add some, I love the way you added some garnish. That was a perfect touch. This should serve about 9 people. And the nice thing about it, if you don't eat all of it tonight, you can reheat it the next night. Okay, let's see if it's going to...
And you reheat it in a microwave as a serving or the whole thing?
I usually reheat it as a serving. Unless you're going to eat the whole thing. It's hard for 2 people, like at my home, to eat all of this in one night. But we unfortunately made a pretty good dent on it. Okay, spinach lasagna, a really inexpensive way to use spinach and make that traditional lasagna a little bit healthier using the low-fat cheese products and the boxed spinach. I don't think we talked about how nutritious spinach is, David. We failed to mention that, but spinach is terrifically nutritious and a great source of vitamin A, a great source of vitamin C, a good source of calcium, but it's a wonderful source of vitamin A.
It's certainly a good addition to your diet.
It is a great addition, and it's a tasty addition.
Well, isn't it fun to eat smart and eat local?
It is great fun to eat simply local.